So you don't have to believe me, but I wasn't scared until I realized Mark was scared. Everybody knew Mark. He was the guy that wore camouflage every chance he got, had the high and tight. He took every ROTC program, went to basic training early. So when the shit was going down in the attic, and I turned to Mark and he was running away, I knew I was in trouble. When I was 15, my religious aunt and uncle made me take a confirmation class at the local church. This was not a good thing for me because it was cutting into my video game and street hockey time, but they were pretty adamant about it. And I remember the first day I had to do it, the first Sunday morning, my mom actually had to yank me from a sleepover. And I just remember like walking down the steps to the dark Sunday school room and sitting down. But three things redeemed it. One was that a good friend of mine, Steve, was in this group, which I didn't know. I think he was keeping it a secret from us. Two, there were teenage girls there. And three, the advisors were pretty cool. There was a couple, Dave and Julie, and then there was Randy and Jerry, who were not a couple. The Lutheran Church was progressive in the 80s, but not quite that progressive. And they were just fun people. And the entire first 15 minutes of our Sunday school class, we just discussed the previous night's Saturday Night Live, which this was the mid-'80s, and it was like the heyday with Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. And there was no better thing to do than in the middle of a Sunday school class stand up and scream, "Satan!" So it was very cool. And then we did, they served their God with a spoonful of sugar. We had pizza parties, bowling, things like that, and volleyball. And one of the things we did was go on retreats. So we did ski retreats, shore retreats, and this particular retreat was like a cold, damp October weekend, just which like has been going on lately in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. So it was like this nice little cabin type thing, and after a day of capture the flag and a nice chilly dinner, they took us into the woods, and I thought, oh, they're gonna like do some God stuff and whatever. But what they ended up doing was taking us to this cemetery in the middle of the woods and telling us ghost stories, which was very cool. Although I'm going to tell you right now, I was a skeptic. I grew up on Jason, Michael Myers, and Freddy, and I was totally desensitized to any like scary stuff. But I thought it was kind of cool. That night, all of us were it was around midnight. We were all kind of still awake, and we heard some noises in the attic, some sliding, unmistakable, like wood scraping against wood. And a few of the girls were scared. I was like, guys, it's a raccoon. I know it's a raccoon. And as we turn around, I see Mark had already had his camo on and started to head upstairs. So everybody else kind of followed, including me. So we get up there, and it was very dark. We couldn't find a light. There was just maybe some moonlight. One of the girls who was sneaking cigarettes actually had a lighter, so we just had a lighter, some moonlight, and we just started. There was a chair that kind of slid across the floor, and a doll actually just kind of tumbled off. And we were all just like, holy shit. And I turned around to Mark, and he had a knife out. Now, if ghosts were a real thing, I don't know what exactly a knife would do to them, but I guess I was kind of happy that I had Mark there. And then all of a sudden, a cabinet started to shake, and like the drawers started to open. And at that point, everybody started to run. And that's when I turned to Mark, and Mark was starting to run. And I don't know if everyone else was running because Mark was chasing after them with a knife, or if they were scared about what was going on. But I knew that it was at the point that I had to go too, even though I was like, guys, it's probably still just a raccoon. So we kind of go downstairs and get in. We were headed for the advisor's room, and we get there, and the first thing we see is kind of laughter, just complete laughter. I see Jerry and Randy with open windows and with strings. They had been pulling strings to the thing, and so we were kind of pissed off. But the only saving grace was that it was chilly night, and I'll just say there might have been some boom booms going on that night. But so that's how it worked out. But I will say that Mark ended up going to the military, becoming a Marine. I think he did 3 tours in Iraq, and as far as I know, he never ran away from anything again. I still remain a skeptic, although hopefully tonight maybe that'll change.